Okay, great. We'll get started here. I just want to thank you all for joining. Looks like we have a good group on this rainy Tuesday, so I appreciate your attendance. My name is Jennifer Bento-Pinion. I am here at MEFA on the college planning team as program manager for MEFA Pathway. And today we are going to talk about building and creating and building a resume. So just if you're not, just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. I'm going to keep you all on mute throughout the presentation. And at the end, I will leave my contact information up for you in case you have any follow-up questions. And if you're logged in through the app on your phone, you just want to swipe right to so you can actually see the presentation and not the webcam. So that's an important note, so you can see what I'm showing you on my screen. And then the last thing is that I am recording this session, so I will be sending along the recording following this session. So we're going to take about 15 minutes just to show you this one feature within MEFA Pathway. And if you're not familiar with MEFA Pathway is a complete college and career planning platform that's available at no cost to all students in grades 6 through 12. MEFA Pathway plays a key role in the Commonwealth's efforts around college and career readiness by increasing access to information about higher education and career opportunities for all types of students. So every student's path is different, and MEFA Pathway is not a one-size-fits-all approach, but rather it's tailored to meet the needs of our diverse populations. So that's being said, a little bit about MEFA Pathway before we get started. And just to show you here, this is the website, mefapathway.org. So as a student, I encourage all of you to encourage your students, if you're a parent, encourage your students to create an account in MEFA Pathway and have them look at not only the resume builder, which what we're looking at today, but also all the great other features that we have within the site. So very simple to create an account. They get on this main page, mefapathway.org, click I am a student. Then as a first-time user, they will click register here. And the registration process is very simple. First name, last name, date of birth, they follow the format. They select the city or town their school is in. And then once they select that city or town, they can select all of the schools that are within that city or town appear on this drop-down box. So they select the school that they go to. They click submit. The next page will prompt them to create a username, a password. They do have to include a working email address in order to create their account. So suggested that maybe they do not use a school email address because we never take these accounts away from students, whereas they might not have access to that school email address. So maybe consider using a personal email address for the registration. They put their address in, and then they actually create 2 security questions. So if they were to need to reset their password or username, they can do so by either the security questions or by receiving an email to reset. Okay, so very simple. Typically, this registration process takes maybe a minute and a half or so. We find that the kids kind of sometimes get stuck on what kind of security questions should I create, which is you want to encourage them not to create security questions that will change, like something that's what's your mother's name, what's your father's name, what's your sibling's name, not what's your favorite color, because then that may change. All right, so once they get through that registration process, their login page is right here. So they put in their username and password and click submit. So I am going to show you, this is my test account of my student Alice. And Alice is a grade 12 student. So the system, based on the year of graduation that the student puts in when they register their account, it will show their grade level. So this is the student's dashboard. So when they log in, this is what they will see first. Now the dashboard serves as a spot where the student can look for next steps. So for a grade 12 student, these are suggested activities for that grade 12 student. So the student is updating their course plan, and they're updating their goals and strategies, and refining that career list, and finalizing their college list, all the way down to updating their college application decisions. So when the student logs in, and if they're at a loss as to what their next steps are, it's right here on this dashboard. So we will show you today, found under the Create Profile. We're going to jump over to the profile details. So we suggest that students start working on building these profile pages early. So could be as early as 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, but certainly by 9th grade, the student should be coming into these profile pages and updating all the great things that they're doing both inside and outside of school. So the personal information, I'm going to bring you through each of these subpages here. So personal information, the student has obviously their name, the address from when they created their account. All these pages are editable. So if they needed to update their year of graduation or their phone number, they could do so. The school page is the school that the student currently attends will appear based on that registration. And then if they attended a previous school, they can add that. If they're taking advantage of any college coursework, they can add that right within this page as well. And keeping in mind that all of what the student is putting within these profile pages, they will then have the opportunity to build a resume based on what they put within these pages. So academic page, this is where the student, this is brand new, this is a new feature that we just added. The student can add their high school GPA, weighted or unweighted, number of AP courses taken, and then they can add in standardized test scores. So we have the SAT, the ACT, and TOEFL. And once the student starts adding in these test scores, the system automatically will generate the highest combined based on what they add into these other subpages here. And this is all student driven. So this is the student's responsibility to update this information accurately. Activities, this is where the student can add clubs, sports, community service, all of the information. I'll just click add new here to show you what this looks like. So to add within the activities page is click add new, and then they can select the type of activity from this long list on the within the drop down, or if they don't find that their activity is listed, they can click other, select the grades that they were involved in this particular activity, when we were involved. They can select summer, school year, or both. Do you plan to continue at college? Position held, this might not be applicable to all activities, but if it is, they can type that in. They can add a description if they like as well. Important on this page is or anything that the student types in, to make certain that they are spelling correctly, proper grammar, because there's no spell check within these pages. So important that they how they type it out is how it will look on their resume draft. So once they've added their activity, they click save. And once they click save, it does take a good 10 to 15 seconds for the page to load. So once the student is brought back to this main activities page is when they know and they can see that their activity has successfully been saved. Move on to honors and awards. So this is where the student can add if they've received any awards, honor roll, those types of things. Skills and strengths, the student can, I'll show you what this looks like. I'm just going to click edit, can select from a number of options here, and they can switch it up. Let me show you how that works. And just select what they would like to appear, and they can, obviously they can edit this, change it, and then we'll just save our changes. And then again, once we're brought to that main page, we'll know that it's been saved. Employment, any kind of jobs student has held. And then finally, we have the certification page, and this is brand new. So if a student has received a certification in any areas, maybe another option would be, or example would be CPR, or they can add that. Many different certifications the student has the opportunity to receive. And then once the student starts building these pages within the profile details, we then, I'll show you here, we're going to jump over to the resume builder. So all of the information that the student has added within those profile details pages then appear on this main resume builder page. So a student may have, they may have a number of different drafts of a resume for different reasons. Maybe they have a particular draft for a college application different than a draft they may have for a job interview or for applying for a job. So student can save as many drafts as they like, and what they do is they can add an objective to start with if they like, and then everything within that's been added within the profile details is on this page, and the student can then deselect what they do not want to appear on a resume. So for example, if the student decides that they don't want their skills to appear on this resume draft, they can just uncheck these boxes and then add their objective if they like, and then save. When they save this resume, it will prompt them to add a title. So I usually just put in the date, but they can create a title if they like, and then they just click save. Once a draft is saved, it will then appear on this view resumes page here. And I actually didn't save that last one, so I have one that I had saved previously. So we're just going to bring that up. They click view, and again, they can edit any of these saved resumes as well. But this is one that I created a few weeks ago. This is Alice Smith. You see her name and address. We added an objective, and then all of the different pieces that we selected from the resume builder page. So from here, the student can change up their resume style if they like. They can change this to modern if they like. Let's see, this looks like we have the modern version, a little bit different. And then either style they can download as a PDF and or download as a Word document. So if they download as a Word doc, they can manipulate it from there. They can change the font, they can change the order, obviously save it to their laptop or computer. So very simple, and again, they can save as many drafts as needed for different purposes. All right, so we're encouraging students to create an account in MEFA Pathway and also start creating and building out their profile details for their resume. So maybe they start as a grade 9 student and they're once a semester adding to those profile details because they don't want to get to be a senior and then need a resume for a job or a college application and then have to scramble to think about all the great things that they did way back in grade 9 and 10. All right, so that wraps up the creating and building a resume in MEFA Pathway. I am going to leave my contact information right on the screen here, so you can get in touch with me if you have any questions. If you are an educator and you are interested in becoming one of our affiliate schools, this is a completely free resource that MEFA offers. Certainly reach out to me. If you're a parent of a student, have your student create an account in MEFA Pathway and get started in on all of the great features that MEFA Pathway offers. All right, so I'll leave this up for a couple of minutes for folks, and expect to get a recording of this session in your inbox within the next 24 hours or so. And I thank you for joining today.